If you keep up with the entertainment world, you have probably realized that this iconic Hollywood star simply vanished from the silver screen one day. Walking away from acting before hitting 50 is widely seen as one of the most baffling moves in show business, but her entire world shifted after crossing paths with Good Charlotte band member Benji Madden. What could possibly push such a youthful talent to walk away from it all, especially since she was only 35 during her final role in Annie? Let us dive deep into the fascinating journey of Cameron Diaz. Long before hitting the big screen, she kicked off a modeling career at just 16, traveling the globe with her parents, giving her their full blessing. By the time she turned 19, the future star took a role in a softcore adult feature, which is the type of movie that leaves the more explicit details to the imagination. That project actually marked her very first time acting on camera, and you can still easily dig the footage up online today, despite her fighting tooth and nail to bury it back in 2004. That mature content was filmed in 1992, yet just 2 years later, she was already auditioning for the 1994 smash hit The Mask, somehow snatching up the leading lady role of Tina with zero mainstream acting chops. She had to grind through multiple rounds of callbacks before finally landing the part, making it an absolutely massive breakthrough for her very first major gig. The Mask cost $23 million to make, but ended up raking in over $350 million globally, turning her debut into a massive blockbuster that inspired her to actually take formal acting lessons. She stuck to smaller indie projects early on, but her incredibly natural performance as Tina proved she had real talent, which immediately put her on the radar of major Hollywood executives. She was even locked in to play the fierce Sonya Blade in the original 1995 Mortal Kombat adaptation, but a nasty injury during martial arts training derailed those plans entirely. Forced to step away from the set entirely, she passed the torch to Bridget Wilson, who ultimately brought the iconic video game character to life on the big screen. She cranked out 14 different features while attending theater classes to sharpen her skills, popping up in notable flicks like The Last Supper, Feeling Minnesota, She's the One, and Head Above Water. All of those indie projects dropped between 1995 and 1997, right before she made a triumphant return to blockbuster cinema later that same year with My Best Friend's Wedding. Hot on the heels of that success, she snagged the absolute leading role in the 1998 legendary comedy There's Something About Mary. The movie became a cultural phenomenon that pulled in nearly $400 million worldwide, while winning over critics and fans alike, finally cementing her status as a genuine leading lady. That hilarious performance scored her the very first of 4 Golden Globe nods, with the others rolling in for Being John Malkovich in 1999, Vanilla Sky in 2001, and Gangs of New York in 2002. She absolutely crushed every single one of those dramatic roles, earning massive industry respect and taking home quite a few prestigious trophies on the festival circuit. Her trajectory in Hollywood was definitely a bit unconventional, because even though she fronted massive big-budget tentpoles, her true acting chops shined brightest in gritty independent gems. Kicking off the early 2000s with a massive bang, she took on what would quickly become one of the most unforgettable roles of her entire life in Charlie's Angels. Teaming up with Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu to reboot the classic 70s television show was a stroke of genius, spawning a massive hit that led straight to the Full Throttle sequel in 2003. By the time that explosive sequel rolled around, the star was literally making Hollywood history by locking down the second highest paycheck any actress had ever seen at that point. Pulling in a staggering $20 million put her just behind Julia Roberts, long before the franchise got a completely fresh coat of paint in 2019 without any of the original leading ladies. She also struck pure gold as a voice actor early in the decade by bringing Princess Fiona to life across the entire Shrek franchise, all while keeping a relatively low-key profile, headlining light-hearted studio comedies. By 2005, she was starring in Her Shoes, followed closely by The Holiday in 2006, which was right around the exact same time she was romantically linked to pop icon Justin Timberlake. The power couple faced absolutely brutal harassment from the tabloids, leading her to actually sue a photographer in 2006 who caught nearly 4 years of jail time for leaking topless photos, alongside other terrifying physical altercations she reported. It remains a mystery whether she was secretly plotting her permanent escape from the industry back then, but the fact is her on-screen presence basically evaporated between 2007 and 2008. She eventually bounced back in 2009, aggressively pivoting away from the typical goofy rom-coms that had defined her early years. Jumping headfirst into the tearjerker, My Sister's Keeper, and the incredibly tense psychological thriller The Box proved her stunning versatility, perfectly setting up her massive 2010 action flick Night and Day alongside Tom Cruise. She scored another massive comedic hit with Bad Teacher in 2011, but by 2012, her focus clearly shifted to personal passions as her Hollywood output slowed to an absolute crawl. She did manage to pop up in What to Expect When You're Expecting and the largely forgotten Caper Gambit during 2012, but neither really made a massive splash at the box office. The reason her acting took a back seat became incredibly obvious when she dropped her debut wellness guide, The Body Book, hitting shelves in 2013 with a deep dive into strength, nutrition, and serious self-love. Despite spending her entire career as the ultimate beauty standard for millions of fans globally, she frankly confessed that her own deep appreciation and awareness of her physical health took years to actually develop. The pages skipped the garbage 7-day or 30-day fad crash diets, totally opting instead to teach her female audience how to cultivate a genuinely balanced and sustainable lifestyle. That publication smashed sales records and led to a follow-up in 2016, right as she courageously opened up about battling obsessive-compulsive disorder and ADHD, crediting transcendental meditation as her ultimate saving grace. With her literary debut dropping in 2013, she quietly took her final bow on the silver screen just 1 year later in the 2014 musical reboot of Annie. Just before calling it quits, she squeezed in raunchy hits like Sex Tape and The Other Woman, while also holding her own alongside a ridiculously stacked cast in the gritty Ridley Scott thriller The Counselor. During that chaotic 2013 to 2014 transition period of pushing books and wrapping her final shoots, she completely fell for good Charlotte rocker Benji Madden. The happy couple officially tied the knot back in 2015, keeping the wedding details incredibly under the radar, exactly the way the intensely private actress wanted it. Prior to finding her forever partner, her high-profile romances with A-listers basically turned her life into an absolute media circus, sparking all the terrifying paparazzi nightmare scenarios we touched on earlier. Spotting the duo out in public together is practically impossible these days, though hardcore fans definitely got their hopes up when she reunited with Christina Applegate and Selma Blair to celebrate their 2002 cult classic, The Sweetest Thing. That epic 2018 get-together sent the rumor mill into overdrive, especially since breast cancer survivor Christina Applegate was also itching to make a big comeback alongside her, though the dream project ultimately fell apart. All of those wild comeback rumors finally turned into hardcore facts the second Netflix officially pulled the curtain back on her brand new explosive project, aptly titled Back in Action. The streaming giant unleashed the movie onto the world on January 17th, 2025, permanently destroying her 11-year Hollywood hiatus in spectacular fashion. Helmed by visionary director Seth Gordon, the high-octane thrill ride stars the legendary actress and Jamie Foxx as former CIA operatives Emily and Matt, who threw their deadly careers away to live the quiet suburban dream. The action comedy flick tracks the duo as their cover gets blown, forcing a massive comeback, and honestly, their return totally crushed it. Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz's fresh release racked up 46.8 million Netflix streams opening weekend. Fans were clearly starving for her comeback, while she constantly praised Foxx on set. She mentioned he was the ultimate hype man that the entire crew absolutely adored. Working alongside him brought incredible energy, plus he remained a total professional throughout. Having turned 50 in August 2022, she really relishes this calculated Hollywood comeback. It gives her that crucial work-life balance, especially after growing up under the harsh celebrity spotlight. By age 22, she had already starred opposite Jim Carrey in The Mask, instantly catapulting her into major mainstream fame. She navigated high-profile romances, including a 3-year stint with Matt Dillon. However, around 2013, she shifted gears toward writing and gracefully stepped away, perfectly content with leaving her acting days behind. She also threw her weight behind the premier non-profit backing Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. Her advocacy provided vital support for military families dealing with severe combat trauma. Eco-activism became another massive passion of hers. She even snagged awards for a 2005 MTV environmental docuseries, proving her eventual Hollywood exit was never actually a giant mystery. Looking closely at her journey, she enjoyed her theatrical run, but simply outgrew the relentless paparazzi madness. Stepping out of the limelight was a deeply personal choice. Unlike lifelong industry veterans, she pivoted hard into entrepreneurship. In 2020, she rolled out a wildly successful organic wine brand that has been completely flying off the shelves. Die-hard supporters can now binge her classic hits or catch her explosive comeback in Back in Action. It just proves that returning on your own terms creates pure cinematic magic. Her fascinating journey proves that unplugging is sometimes vital for personal growth. Ultimately, a carefully orchestrated comeback hits way harder than just overstaying your welcome. So there you have the full scoop on Cameron Diaz. She ditched the spotlight at her absolute peak, only to bounce back better than ever. Hopefully, you enjoyed diving deep into the real reasons behind her vanishing act and this epic Hollywood revival. If this deep dive hooked you, smash that like button and subscribe for more wild entertainment industry tales. Catch you all in the next video.